Hello all, welcome to my channel. In this video, we're going to get the input from the user, validate it, and make our program work for those currencies that are coming in the input instead of hard coding this currency as IDR. And I think that will be the end of our program. So before we start any coding, I want to show you how to debug this program really easily. So you can go to this run portion of VS Studio, and you could just create a launch JSON. Then we are coding in .NET Core, so click .NET Core. Then it has created a launch JSON file. So all this is doing is it's going to build as a pre-launch task. It's going to build that application. And after it's built, it's going to launch this xRate.dll that is generated inside our bin folder, so that we can debug in VS Code. So let's run it just to see. I'll have a debug point here. I'll run it. You can see that I can step into every line of code and see what is happening. So after we make this call, I can look into the response and see what the data that's coming back. And the next function is good because we got a success from the API, and we are reading that content as a JSON. So we can look at the JSON here and see, hey, this is the exact JSON that we have from the browser call. Very similar. The data might have changed since then, but it's the response structure is pretty much the same. Now we are deserializing that into a JSON element, and we can see the root. We can dive deep into it, and we can get the roots, the rates property, and then we are writing to console the decimal value of the currency IDR. So this is very useful when debugging your application when something goes wrong. Okay, so now if you remember from one of the previous videos, the way that we will be accessing our program is .NET run, and then we'll provide a currency pair. So it's USD colon INR, for example. So since these are not separated by spaces, in this args variable, we'll be getting just one item in this entire array, which means we can always say our program needs at least one item. So if args dot length not equal to 1, so this means anything that's not 1, or we can just say if it is nothing, we want to write an error, console dot error. We can just write some information to the user that currency pair input is missing. Okay, and you want to return right away, because if you don't return, your function will continue to execute, and then you won't have enough data to do the right thing. So now if it is escaping this if check, that means you have one argument in here. Alright, so now we can get that argument. So var currency pair equal to args of 0. Remember, arrays are indexed with 0-based indexes. So to get the first element, you have to say args of 0. So you have the currency pair. Since a currency pair is separated by a colon, as in here, we want to split that out. So we can do something like string dot split. I guess maybe it's part of the string itself. So currency pair dot split. You can give a character to split, which is our colon, and this would be our currency pair. So it'll be currencies. Okay, so now, sorry for the typo. Now this is again an array, and we know that we only have two values in here. So it has to have at least exactly two. So if currencies dot length not equal to 2, it has to be exactly 2. If it is not 2, that means we have some extra information that we don't want. So we still want our program to not execute after this point. So currency pair provided is incorrect. Okay, that's good enough. Now in here, instead of saying IDR, all I need to do is currencies of 1, which means it's taking the second item from here. The first is the from currency, which is the USD here, and the second is the INR, which is the to currency, which is something that we want to convert it to. So let's see how this works. There we go, we got the right response. Let's check for a different currency. So let's take ARS as an example. I don't even know what ARS is, but USD to ARS would have to print out 81.57. That is oh, this is just an example, so let's look at what we have here. ARS seems to be close to 80 something, so that's great. Our program works for the input and not for a static text that we provide in our query. So this is great. The one small change that we can do is that if the user provides a garbage, for example, instead of ARS, what if we provide ZZZ? Our program will fail. The program that's failing is at line 35. That's what it is in here. It says that the get property of currencies one, it's not in the JSON, because as you can see, this does not know anything about currency ZZZ. So there is a better way to handle this one. So instead of just getting the property, assuming that it's there, which that assumption can be wrong, you can say if get, we can sort of try get property, and we can say var out, sorry, out var rate. So if it exists, then read the value from that element. So that would be rate dot get decimal. If you cannot read it, you will want to print something useful to the user, saying so we can copy from here and say currency rate not found. Okay, so this is complaining about cannot convert. Oh, okay, sorry. All I need, you don't need to do this again. I need to do is rate dot get decimal. Okay, print the same thing again. Now our program should not fail, but instead say currency rate not found. So this is a much better program now because it's validating against the input and also dynamically validating that the currency that's provided, if it's not in the list, it tells us that currency rate not found. But if you go back to your previous command, it just works. Sure. There you go. Nice. Now we know that our program works. Let's make this a little more useful by not providing a .NET run all the time inside the project folder. Let's make this a global tool so that you can access from any terminal in your computer in any folder. Um, that'll make the tool a little more useful so you don't have to go into this folder all the time. Thanks, see you on the next video. Bye.